This is Hidden Agenda, developed by Supermassive Games. They did Until Dawn, and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, who've published like everything on PlayStation. Anyway, Hidden Agenda is a choose-your-own-adventure game, like Until Dawn or like Heavy Rain or anything like that. However, it's using PlayLink rather than DualShock to play the game. So if you're unfamiliar, PlayLink is basically a way to turn your smartphone into a controller. It's very basic, it's all gesture-based, touchscreen style things. So you're not using buttons, you're not using your controller. You can't use your controller at all, actually, in Hidden Agenda. You have to use a smartphone. So you have to have an Android or an iOS. Nothing for Windows and nothing for anything else. So if you have an Android phone or you have an iOS phone, I'm not sure what versions of those you need, but the Android app was fairly basic, so I would say you can use more or less anything on the market right now. So the game itself, you play a detective and a attorney. You swap off different chapters and different scenes. And you were involved in a serial killer case known as the Trapper case. And basically, the Trapper has come back to you to say, it's not me, it was somebody else, you gotta get me out of here. They're gonna kill me. They're gonna put me in the chair. They're gonna give me the injections or whatever. He's on death row. He doesn't want to be there anymore. He wants out, and that's the story. You gotta figure out if he's telling the truth, etc., etc. There's different scenes. You choose your own adventure, and so on. The whole game is really about the story, so I'm not gonna go too much further into it. Only thing I will say about it is, starts off quite strong, but once you start making your choices, there's some very strange cuts and some very strange changes in tone, depending on the choices you make. So sometimes it might seem like the scene is flowing naturally, but sometimes it might take a really abrupt turn and you're just like, ugh, that doesn't sound right, that doesn't seem like it was the right thing. And maybe it wasn't, maybe you made the wrong choice, who knows. So the way the game is played is you make choices, as you do in most choose-your-own-adventure games, with your mobile phone, with your smartphone, and based on the choices you make, certain things will or won't happen in the game. This is fairly standard practice for the choose-your-own-adventure style things. Where it changes a little bit is in the multiplayer. So in single player it plays more or less the exact same way Until Dawn and Heavy Rain and all those kind of games. There's very few gesture-based things. It's almost entirely just moving a cursor into a box. That's, it's very basic. It's communicating with the phone across Wi-Fi, so there's a bit of lag, so they can't have anything too complicated. In multiplayer though, you have a cooperative mode, which plays basically the same as single player. It's just everybody has to agree on the choice. So it has to be a unanimous decision. So it'll be a bit of back and forth with your, whoever you're playing the game with on the couch. We should do this or we should do that, etc. The competitive mode is where the game kind of comes into its own. This is where the hidden agenda, this is where the title kind of comes in. So if you've ever played a card game like Resistance or Avalon, you'll kind of have an idea of how this works. Basically, let's say there are 3 people playing the game. One of those peoples will get a hidden agenda, and that hidden agenda is you need to get a certain outcome from the scene. So you need to have somebody get shot, or somebody not get shot, or somebody needs to escape, somebody has to not escape, somebody has to throw out files, somebody has to delete files, whatever it is. The other players don't know that. They know somebody has a hidden agenda, they just don't know what it is, and they don't know who it is. And your job as the person who has the hidden agenda is to make it happen. Your job as the person who doesn't have the hidden agenda is to not make it happen, whatever it happens to be, because you don't know what it is. So that's interesting, like from a party standpoint, it could be a lot of fun. As I said, this will depend entirely on the people you're playing it with and how into it they are. If you're playing this by yourself, if you like Until Dawn, you'll still probably like this. As I said, it does kind of fall apart at the end, the story. Just depending on your choices, it can go in some really weird directions and have very abrupt endings. Or just seem like it's going off in a weird tangent. It's decent enough. It's a good entry for these kind of games, and for people who don't normally play games, you could bring them in. They have their mobile phone. Vast majority of people have a phone capable of playing this game. It's an easy way to get them into it.
You'll never see it coming. You see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done.
Guards here are vigilant.
So it's been a while since I finished Assassin's Creed Origins. Had some time to think about it, and overall I think it's okay. It's a decent enough game. It's fun enough to play. I just don't feel like it's a great Assassin's Creed game. I still feel like Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood are the best examples of the game series. So I'll talk about why I feel the game is only okay and not amazing. The biggest reason is probably the story. It starts out kind of weird. There's a sort of flashback and then a flash forward and then another flashback on how Bayek's son dies. It's a really weird way to set it up, and it just continues to be strange. You have these kind of masked characters that are only known by their code name. You get a mission to find out who it is. You find out who it is immediately. You know, it doesn't take any real skill to work it out, and then you just go kill them, and that's it. That's the end of it. And then more names are revealed, more maps are revealed. You find out at the end, no, this guy killed Bayek's son, and Bayek says, okay. You know, a couple hours later, a couple of bit of gameplay later, no, this guy killed your son, definitely. It's definitely this guy. Oh, okay. No, not this guy. Okay, this guy now. It was definitely this guy, I promise. And Bayek's just like, okay, I'll go with it. You know, there's no investigation. There's no setup right at the start. You know, they just keep moving the goalpost. They just keep changing the end goal. By the time you get to the last boss, Flavius, I think that's his name, you're like, who's this guy? You know, he just came in out of nowhere and suddenly he's the main villain. You know, there's no build-up. There's no catharsis at the end for beating him because you're like, I don't even know who you are. And God, that boss fight is bullshit. Let me tell you. Any boss. I never like a boss that just breaks your lock on randomly. I particularly don't like ones that, you know, you can't block their stuff, dodging out of the way doesn't matter, you still get hit. I ended up just cheesing them with the bow and arrow, which is what I ended up doing for most bosses. Additionally, with the story, you know, this is supposed to be the origins of the Assassin's Order or whatever, and it's not, really. They don't really explain any of the trappings, like the creed, any of that. It's just sort of thrown in right at the end to say, oh yeah, oh right, this is an Assassin's Creed game. Oops, forgot, we better put all that stuff in. You know, Bayek's just given the hidden blade reasonably early in the game. She's like, here's the hidden blade, I found it, whatever. Okay. Bayek has a hood, no one tells us why. He just randomly wears a hood, okay. Gets his finger cut off during one of the missions. Suddenly that's a ritual, why? I don't know. There's no weight given to that. The assassin symbol is purely random chance that the skull he throws down right at the end just makes an impression. Like, okay, we'll go with that symbol. And even then, he's not part of the Order. Aya started the Order. The game should have been about her. And the game kind of is about her at the end. And she changes her name to what is it? I can't remember now. The name escapes me. But it's one of the assassins in the underground area of Assassin's Creed 2 in Ezio's house. One of the assassins who kills Cleopatra, that's kind of a good tie-in because Aya does sort of threaten Cleopatra at the end of the game. I still kind of feel like they threw that in because also Brutus is meant to be like a founding member of the Assassin's Order, and he sort of just shows up right at the end and goes, okay, I'll start the Assassin's Order with you. He's also not wearing that cool outfit. Anyway, that's my main contention. The story just didn't go anywhere, and that kind of filtered into the gameplay. You were going after these people and you didn't know why. And you're going after new people and you still don't know why. Combat-wise, is serviceable, it does its job. You know, it's not fun, but it's not a big drag either. You have enough abilities that you can sort of just muddle your way through combat. I would have liked for there to be a bit more variety, and rather than just relying on the same handful of moves, you kind of just, once you have the charge attack, you really don't need to use anything else. And even then, you can just use your bow and arrow, it'll get you out of everything. The boss fights are just whatever. They have too many unblockable attacks, it's not fun. You just end up charge attack, move away, fire bow and arrow, charge attack, move away, fire bow and arrow. That's all I ended up doing, it worked on pretty much everybody. I don't know, it's fun enough just running around and doing the kind of assassinations, the side missions. Some of the main missions are fun, but a lot of them, as long as you don't pay attention to the story, I suppose it's fine. But if you are really interested in the story, which I am, I do play games mostly for their story, to be honest. And this one just didn't didn't, click with me. So, unlikely I'll go back to it. Unless the DLC is very, very good, it's unlikely I'll return to Assassin's Creed Origins.
All who ally with monsters and demons will die, General. They used the formula. I should destroy the Greek fire stockpiles.
Those are the games I played for November 2017. Not much in content, and to be honest I wasn't even actually planning on doing a November video. I had a big trip coming up at the end of November that I had to get ready for, new editing software I was dealing with, and then Christmas came along to compound that. The video got pushed deep into November and there weren't many games out either, so I wasn't exactly planning on it, but here it is. I thought it'd be a bit strange if we had monthly videos and not one for November. I hope you liked it. Here's some footage of me still messing around in Agrippa's compound. Don't worry though, December's video will be right along shortly. There's plenty of content in that. Some really interesting games and some really interesting demos and betas for December. And then we'll be gearing up for 2018. So I'll see you in a couple of days for December's video, I guess.